So we have a system called Trail. All our clients see it, and it gives you a list of what you need to upload for your mortgage application. And I go through that list and make sure everything's in there correctly. We get a lot of people that upload things that are completely irrelevant to the application or in weird formats, things like that. On the alternative side to that, I also once had a guy upload a photo of his girlfriend in her underwear, which was very shocking first thing on a Monday
And
morning.
the thing is, once you put it in Trail, you can't delete it out of Trail because it's all audited, right? So you have to get us to delete it out of Trail. So he has to then email and be like, hey guys, I uploaded an ambiguous file in an ambiguous way. If you could ambiguously delete it without opening it, that would be amazing.
Please.
Thank you. And we're like, well, what in God's good green name have you done here?
And the thing is, when you say, can you delete it without opening it? I can't delete it without opening it. You have to open it and then the delete button
I'm not
is there.
buying that for a second. Makayla's like, sorry, Makayla wants to open that file, see what's going on.
Welcome to Checks and Balances, brought to you by Partners Life. I'm Michael Vincent. This is James Blair. And today we have an extra special guest, Makayla Edwards from the mortgage team. And she is here to tell you how to put your best foot forward with a mortgage application.
Yes. If you've ever done a mortgage application with Michael, you'll probably recognize my name because I do basically all of his applications, and I'm always the one that's going through your transactions, your documents, and I'm going to ask you 1,000 questions every time.
I like to think if the email's got spelling mistakes in it or poor grammar, that's Mike. And if it's well written, that's come from you.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
So I try my best, all right?
Yeah. So today is about putting your best foot forward with your mortgage application. We're going to talk about things not to do in your mortgage applications, a few interesting stories, maybe some things not to upload in your mortgage application as well. So Makayla, when you are putting a mortgage application forward, I think probably one of the big things, right, is you guys want to give the person the money. The person wants the money, but sometimes people think, I don't know, yeah, maybe there's a certain way they have to present themselves to get what they want, right? But tell us, what are the things people should not do in a mortgage application?
Yeah, so really common things I see is, like you said, putting your best foot forward. A lot of people won't upload their most recent bank statements because they say, oh, I bought like a TV 3 months ago and I'm concerned that that's going to skew my servicing. It doesn't matter. We all buy big things. We need your most recent 3 months of statements. So not like 3 months from 3 months ago. Now, recent. It's so common that people have that argument like, oh, I was spending too much, so I don't want to give it to you.
I would say everyone that we talk to for the initial conversation is like, oh, my last 3 months have been abnormally high. Just should I give you the 3 months before? I'm like, everyone spends exactly the same. Just send it over.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people recently doing financial plans where they're like, look, we've just come back from Europe and this is not our normal spending habits. With the example of the TV, Makayla, like say you spend, I don't know, $3,000 or $4,000 on a TV, from a mortgage application perspective, do you just like completely dismiss that or do you have to take that into account at all?
Something like that is not something we need to touch on. If it was something like maybe you've like gifted family some funds or there's something going out that says like loan to mom, that might be something we need to touch on. But if normal purchases are not something that the bank is going to have a negative effect on.
Regular fixed expenses are what the bank cares about, right? You don't buy a TV every week. And if you do, you probably aren't going to get the mortgage. You know what I mean? It's the regular fixed expenses. I think a lot of people have that kind of idea in their head of, a few months ago, years ago, when triple CFA regulation came in and, banks were just scrutinizing the absolute, hell out of your bank statements. It's not like that anymore. And it's actually set to get quite a bit better as the bank starts to roll, as the government starts to roll back the triple CFA legislation.
There's all those stupid articles being like, I spent $12 at Kmart and my mortgage application got declined.
Yeah, there was a time, but it's not that time anymore. And like speaking of regular expenses, a lot of people put their regular expenses through their credit card. And a lot of people also think that they don't need to provide their credit card statements. I need those too. I need 3 months. I need to know the limit, the balance, the rate, all of that information. A lot of people consider, oh, if I pay it in full every month, it's not a debt. It's still a debt and I still need to see it.
Yeah. The annoying thing is that we have the conversation. Actually, that's the real annoying thing is that I'm like, we need all the bank statements. I need to see your credit cards if you're spending on it. And then we get to it and we can very quickly, you recognize if someone has a credit card or not, because you can see the amount that they're spending, just the number of the volume of transactions.
Yeah.
Humans are all pretty much identical, right? We all spend pretty much the same spending habits. And when you see an anomaly, you're like, oh, there's a credit card because they're not spending any money. You call the person up, you go, hey, do you have a credit card? Could you send it across? And they act surprised.
Yeah.
They're like, oh,
I didn't
like
know.
almost like shocked, like who, me? Like, and I'm like, mate, we've asked you this like 4 times.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I do maybe. Oh, that's right. There is that credit card.
And then they tell you and the limit is like $50,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just feel like it's such a common misconception that they have to be perfect to come to you for the application.
Yeah.
But so I guess the parameter, like you guys can tell a story, right? Like somebody is renting at the moment or their situation is this. Once they're going to buy the house, the situation is going to look like this.
Yeah.
Is that part of the credit rating?
Yeah, your spending and your habits are not going to look the same when you're spending, $300 a week on your flatmate payment versus when you have to spend $5,000 a month on your mortgage payment. You're going to change your habits, and the bank knows that, and we know that.
Yeah. Okay. So what else should we not do, Makayla?
Yeah, another one is under declaring your income when you're on the phone with your advisor. When you speak to the advisor, we give you a rough idea of what we think you can afford on the phone. And if you tell us on that phone call, I make $300,000 a year, sweet. We're going to tell you you can afford a massive mortgage. It's all good. Your dreams are achievable. Once you upload your income information, if I look at it and it's actually $50,000 a year, $60,000 a year, that what we told you on the phone is going right out the door, right?
Is that mainly business like owners or people that are self-employed?
Mainly business, but it happens with people that make salaries too, which is kind of strange because you'd think what's on your pay slip every fortnight, but not everyone does, I guess.
Yeah. I think a lot of it comes down to like a financial literacy thing as well. Like I've spoken to a few people and they'll go, this is how much I get in the hand a fortnight, or they'll have to look it up, or they go look at and I think it's just being quite passive when it comes to their finances.
Yeah, the business one I have a little bit more sympathy for, but we've genuinely had a customer who was like, oh no, I make $300,000 a year, and they made $40,000 a year, and the $300K was their top line, and then the cost came out, and like you can get angry at me. But my advice is, well, you just need to earn more money now because I've said to you, you can have this, and in reality, you can't have it. If you tell me 300,000, I'm going to run the calculations of 300,000.
It's concerning if you're telling somebody who runs a business the difference between revenue and profit.
I don't want to talk about that one. I do not want to say this.
It's a lot of concerning things.
Yeah. What else is on the list, Makayla?
What else is on the list? This is sort of an end of the process thing, but a lot of people get really excited in the home buying journey and they might say, hey, I found a house, and hey, I'm unconditional on it already. That happens sometimes, and please include us in those decisions. Like, we have people that go out on the weekends a lot and make offers on property. That's fine. You can call your advisor on the weekend and give them a heads up. Mike doesn't mind. I don't think AJ or Laura mind. Like, please just do it because we'd rather know what you're up to than be surprised on Monday that you've told someone that, yep, I've paid the deposit. It's done. Good to go. And we haven't even told the bank.
Yeah. And I think the other thing there is like, we always say to customers, I'm like, I don't care if it's Saturday, Sunday, 8 p.m. Just call me. I'll pick the phone up. And the reason is, in terms of when you're speaking to an estate agent and making an offer on that house that the estate agent is trying to sell, yep, they've got to be fair with the offer, but they're going to say to you, well, the best offer you can put forward is an unconditional offer, right? Like that is their job, is to get the unconditional sale for the customer. That's not the best offer that you can put forward if you don't have the money lined up. If there's no pre-approval, that is one hell of a roll of the dice.
Yeah. Pre-approvals are so important. I think a lot of people think, a lot of people will look at houses first, but please just come and get a pre-approval and make everything so much easier for everybody.
How the hell do you even look at a house if you don't know what you can borrow there, right? Like, you have the discussion. I think people misunderstand as well. There's a difference between understanding what I can do and doing it. And that's the conversation with the mortgage broker to go like, I'm looking at $2 million houses, and Mike's like, you can borrow $1 million.
And that happens.
Yeah. I mean, that's society.
We don't want to kill your dreams, but like...
His nickname is the Dream Killer. All right, Makayla, so that's things not to do. Let's move on to things not to upload, which is interesting. I wouldn't have thought we'd be talking about this, but I'm sure we're talking about this for a good reason. What should we not upload and what is getting uploaded?
So we have a system called Trail. All our clients see it, and it gives you a list of what you need to upload for your mortgage application. And I go through that list and make sure everything's in there correctly. We get a lot of people that upload things that are completely irrelevant to the application or in weird formats, things like that. Most common one is bank statements in CSV format, like an Excel spreadsheet. It's not going to work. I know a lot of banks, it's really hard to export your
ASB, I'm
statements.
looking at
Yeah,
you, ASB. If you could make this easier.
Please. But yeah, people export their bank statements in CSV format, and like that has no branding. It has the transactions.
It's editable.
So that's just not going to work. Yeah, that's another one. The banks like PDFs, and it saves me a lot of time and hurt if you just upload PDFs and not photos of things.
If you take a photo of every page of your bank statements and send them to us in PNG format, and we have to convert them, I will charge you a fee. Yeah, let that be your warning.
Yeah, anytime you open a JPEG, I have to take 30 seconds and convert it to a PDF. It's not that annoying, but when there's 50 documents, it's kind of annoying.
Actually on that, we have a system that you can click through and it automatically downloads all of your bank statements in the format we need, the timestamps that we need, the dates that we need, everything.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Takes you 2 minutes. Tops.
Yeah, I could just take a picture, Mike, and then it's your problem.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. A lot of people, like we have the Ilion, I think it's Ilion, is that how you say it, platform. It works so well. A lot of people are scared of it because you have to put your bank details in. But like I've used it. It's really good and it saves you so much time manually downloading each statement. So really good. Things that people upload in photo format as well. If you're taking photos of your documents, a lot of people will put the piece of paper, like say on the table, and then they're like, I'll just stand over it and take a photo. And then they get like their stomach in it or like their, dirty fingernails, toes, like just get closer to the piece of paper, please. Like, I don't want to see that.
Option. Just take a picture of the document.
Yeah.
We don't need landscape profile. There doesn't need to be anything else in there. Just take a picture of the document.
Yeah, definitely.
Look, I didn't think we'd be saying this in a mortgage application episode. I don't want to see your toes. Just,
Please.
Or if they are going to be in the picture, put some socks on.
Yeah.
Please charge me first.
Yeah. Some passive income from OnlyFans to support the mortgage application.
Only apps.
Yeah. We also had actually just last week, I had a woman upload a photo of her dog. Very, very cute. I did enjoy it. Very cute. But on the alternative side to that, I also once had a guy upload a photo of his girlfriend in her underwear, which was very shocking first thing on a Monday
And
morning.
the thing is, once you put it in Trail, you can't delete it out of Trail because it's all audited, right? So you have to get us to delete it out of Trail. So he has to then email and be like, hey guys, I uploaded an ambiguous file in an ambiguous way. If you could ambiguously delete it without opening it, that would be amazing. Thank you. And we're like, well, what in God's good green name have you done here?
And the thing is, when you say, can you delete it without opening it? I can't delete it without opening it. You have to open it and then the delete button
I'm not
is there.
buying that for a second. Makayla's like, sorry, Makayla wants to open that file, see what's going on.
Yeah.
So James, before we continue, I have got a special announcement.
Have you started sticking to your budget?
Absolutely not.
You finally made it as an after-hours DJ.
I wish. Mate, the thing is, we have got a brand new podcast partner, Partners Life.
You mean the award-winning insurance provider with over 300,000 Kiwis insured?
Yep, they're also a New Zealand-operated company, and they are passionate about increasing financial literacy amongst Kiwis.
Sounds like a great match. Where can I learn more about them?
Check out their website in our show notes below.
Really thought DJ Magic Mike was going to be a global sensation for a second.
All right, so we've gone through what not to do. Don't try and hide anything. Things not to upload. Leave your toes out of it. Makayla, run us through the worst applications you've ever seen. And we're not picking on customers here, but I think it is really important to point out, if you're going for a mortgage application, you've got to be honest. You've got to disclose everything. And if you haven't disclosed stuff to your spouse, who's also on the application, don't expect us to mediate the fight. I'm just going to throw boxing rings in the boardroom, shut the door, and let, 2 men enter, 1 man leave.
Yeah. Yeah, basically on that, one I had a couple years ago, someone that was gambling on a credit card, and his wife didn't know about the credit card. And so, generally when we do a joint application, we assume that you're sharing financial information unless you tell us otherwise. The only time we assume it's separate is if you're living in separate households. And so, we send an email and say, hey, you have this maxed out credit card and it's tanking your application. You might have to pay it off in order to go ahead. She had no idea about this card. And, that's pretty common, I would say. But the worst part about it was the gambling on the credit card. Just having something like that sort of tanks your application and maybe starts tanking your relationship a little bit. Very stressful. I don't want to get involved.
The application isn't the only thing tanking. God, imagine walking home that night and just imagine
opening the door.
The door being like
the face of thunder from upstairs.
This isn't going to be good. I'm just going to get in the fetal position and just wait till it's over.
If there's nothing else, you probably have a quick punt on the way up the driveway, just to roll your luck, just to be like, well, it can't get any worse. Let's see if it gets better.
Imagine if I pay off the debt with this card.
Yeah. We won't even need a mortgage. I've sorted it. Don't worry.
The thing with the gambling is the gambling's not the issue if you can afford gambling. It's when it becomes habitual gambling or appears to be habitual over recreational. If you are losing money before you get out of bed in the morning, if you can't afford it, if you are spending your cash at TAB or on gambling sites and then your transactions are happening on credit, that starts to look really bad as well. If you are gambling from your credit card and not paying your credit card off, that might be an issue
That's
too.
a problem.
Yeah. So did they come back to you? Did they get the mortgage?
No.
We couldn't get the mortgage. No.
And then they go, the issue. The other thing is they get shitty at us.
Yes. Every time.
We're like, you have to close the credit card. He's like, why? No, I'm like, what are you talking about, mate? You've maxed out this credit card.
Yeah.
So what's the next story, Makayla?
Next story. This one kind of centers around new builds because we have a lot of customers now that buy new builds either for first homes or for investments. So we had a guy that came to us also a couple years ago. It was a very ongoing thing for about 12 to 24 months.
Closer to 24.
Yeah, closer to 24. He went to a developer, wasn't a developer that we'd heard of before, small time kind of thing. He was promised instant equity by the developer, which has now become Mike and I's least favorite phrase to hear. Instant equity. Basically, at the time, we got him the approval because you can get a 12-month approval for a new build, but the build has to complete in those 12 months. And if it doesn't, you're going to get reassessed and you have to reapply for the lending to settle the property. So 12 months passed by, we had to reapply. And in that 12 months, a lot of stuff had changed in his life.
Interest rates had tripled.
Yeah, interest rates had gone up.
Test rates had tripled.
I also got to say, he also took out quite a lot of debt, even though we had said in the beginning, you have an approval now based on your position now. Please don't do anything to make your position worse than it is.
To be fair, Makayla, he was just spending the instant equity he was about to get.
Yeah.
So he was gonna pay it back once he got all of that cash from the developer.
Car is paid off. Don't worry. No, so it ended up being quite rough because we actually could not get him the new mortgage after those 12 months were up.
Yeah.
So he ended up settling with I wouldn't even say third tier lender. We'll say fifth tier lender, which is just what happens when you're in those tight situations. And it was a real, lesson for him basically on developers and investment properties and things like that. We did end up able to refinance him a few months later. So he had paid off some of his debt, things like that. And we were able to get him to a main bank. But it was just such a headache. And every time he said instant equity, I was just like, please.
Yeah. There was no equity, by the way.
There was no equity.
There was no equity.
There's house probably price, still no equity.
Yeah, the value of the house had dropped because the market had gone down. So not only was there instant equity, there was an instant loss. So you kind of have to deal with that as well.
Yeah. So new builds, pick a developer that's reputable. We know a lot of them. We can help you. I don't know.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I also hear you have a client who could be referred to. So we know the Tinder swindler. Is there a property swindler?
You could put it that way. Another story that relates to a new build. Another guy also, I gotta say.
Oh, we're three of
Yeah.
us.
It's
Actually,
not surprising.
the funny thing is, if you're listening to this podcast, you're going, I can't believe they're talking about my story. Just keep in mind, it may not be you. We've seen this 1,000 times.
Yes. That's actually true. A lot of these are repeatable stories, especially the instant equity one.
Yeah.
There is another one relates to a new build, another build that took longer than the 12 months it usually takes. And this one was a bit of a funny one. He was a younger guy and he had a girlfriend, bought the property. Great, 12 months. The build ended up taking longer than the 12 months. So he came back to us. Hey, I got to reapply. Fine. There was no issues with their servicing. So that wasn't as scary as the last one. But the big change that happened was somewhere in those 12 months, him and his partner had split up. And he had then started dating a girl from his work. And he had signed a deed of nomination for her to purchase the house with him instead of his ex. So I'm going through the application and I'm thinking, this can't be the same girl as last time. She looks completely different. I was so confused. Turns out, new girlfriend, same house.
Well, it was new
anyway.
job, new girlfriend. He shifted companies and then shifted girlfriends as well. Yeah.
Okay, Makayla, I have a question in terms of that application. Did the ex-girlfriend have to sign a form where the new girlfriend's signature was on it? It's going from this person to this person?
No. So basically what happened is he signed the deed of nomination with his ex-partner so that the purchase was just in his name. But because the sale and purchase will say and or nominee, you can change the purchasers anytime up until completion. So he just said, okay, we've broken up. I'm going to buy the house on my own, and then turned around and said, actually, I'm going to buy it with this girl instead. So she might not even know. Who knows?
Yeah, smart. So it went from their joint names to his name to their joint names.
Exactly.
Yeah, smart from him.
The swindler.
Yeah,
Absolute swindler.
smart.
Yeah. Not his first rodeo. Okay.
Right, Makayla, anything you want to mention before we wrap this one up?
I gotta say a special mention to all of the people that name their bank transactions things like happy ending, drugs. I don't know if I can say that. I love you, mommy. Biggest one I see is sugar daddy or sugar baby.
Yeah.
Please keep it up because it's hilarious. And if I have to spend my morning going through everyone's bank transactions, I at least want to get a laugh out of it.
I mean, it just shows that the client's got a little bit of, can have a laugh and personality.
Yeah.
It's all good
It's
stuff.
all about the Riz.
Yeah, cool. Okay, well, Makayla, thank you for joining us for this episode. Like you said, this is really all about, while we've had a bit of fun with this because, who wants to just go boring line by line about how to prepare the best mortgage application? There's some good stories in here. Take them in the right light. But it's really just as simple as you want to give them the money, they want the money, so let's work together. Let's not hide stuff from each other.
This thing done.
We're a team.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to Partners Life for sponsoring us. Please subscribe to the channel, give us a review, give us a like, and we'll catch you next time.
Cheers.